gotten back from a really amazing trip to South Korea, and I got to see and photograph a whole bunch of different things, and I'm creating a video about the entire trip to South Korea. But right towards the end of the trip, on the last day, in fact, I actually planned a portrait fashion shoot with an agency based in Seoul. I hadn't initially planned to do any shoot like this before I left Australia for Korea, so the equipment that I brought wasn't necessarily the equipment that I would have liked to have used on this shoot. So that was one of the challenges of the photo shoot. The other challenge was obviously the language barrier. I do not speak any Korean whatsoever, but overall the team that I was working with were super amazing, and I think we got some really nice images that I'm super proud of. I was traveling pretty light, so I just had my Fuji X-T5, a couple of compact primes, and a detachable hot shoe flash, just a straight on flash that I was using just to take some random photos of friends and just when I needed a little bit of extra light. But I didn't bring any lighting gear whatsoever. Now, if I was to go back to this location and photograph again, I definitely would bring in some lighting gear, maybe some strobes, some continuous lights, just so I have a little bit more control over the scene and so that I could use a lower ISO in the camera overall. So we started off the shoot in this main area of the house, which had a large void above, a staircase behind, and some lamps and plants sort of under the stairs in this area. And there was some light coming in to the right of the camera, you can see here, through that main entrance. And because of all the timber and the furniture, it's got a very warm kind of vintage feel to it. I decided to use the warm light of the lamps, and I used it to kind of create this hair light on our model. So the light coming in through the window was really quite blue in comparison to that warmer light, and gave this kind of dual color balance to the image overall. I set my white balance in the camera for the window light so that the window light appeared pretty neutral, not too blue, in contrast with the tungsten light. And then I let the bulb of the lamp, being tungsten, come across a little bit warmer in the photo. And I think that overall these photos came out really nice. We tried some shots with this baseball cap too that the model had brought, and I think it added a little bit of a different vibe to the outfit overall, which I ended up really liking in the final images. I made sure I got a mixture of wides and close-ups with the two lenses that I was using, just switching between them throughout the shoot, which was a little bit of a pain, like running back and forth, switching the lenses, but I think it was worth it to get these different perspectives. And I really wanted to try this straight on flash technique. I had this flash with me, and I've seen some photos where it works really well. So I attached the flash to the top of the camera and sort of played around with different ISO settings and flash powers to sort of balance the ambient and flash in a way that I thought looked cool. The on-camera flash, I feel, is something that adds a little bit more of like an amateur camera candid feel, like a candid photo you might take on an old point and shoot. So that's kind of the look and the vibe that I was going for with these photos. So we eventually moved into this upstairs room, which was probably the best space in terms of the natural light availability, and the direction was really nice of that light coming through the window. So I did take quite a few images up here and decided to cut the ceiling lights before we even started shooting so that we were just dealing with that one color temperature and direction of light. I didn't want any mixtures of different colors and different directions and causing all sorts of shadows. I just wanted that one source of light. These first ones, I just wanted to have the model as close to the light as possible, so I had her on this sofa, which is covered with this blue fabric, and I thought that the color matched really well with her outfit, plus these sort of like orange tones of the timber walls in the background and the interior. It really helped to create a good contrast here. This shot leaning up against a sofa might be one of my favorites, as the framing is just really neat and tidy. I really like clean and simple photos. The elements in the background and that sort of Rembrandt-esque lighting from the window to the left of camera, I think really adds a nice contrast and depth to our model's face, as well as separating her from the background. So we moved a little further back into the room away from the light, which provided more flat lighting overall, really just playing with compositions against these traditional Korean sliding doors. There was also a beautiful upholstered seat in the corner of the room that was really nice, and I decided to have our model seated sort of with her feet up, which I ended up really liking. I really loved the pattern of this ornate ceiling detail, and so I had the model in the doorway and I was trying to create a composition of her in the doorway with that ceiling in the background. Only a few of these photos I feel turned out good. Because of the limited space in that upstairs room, I just couldn't quite create a composition that I really liked, and I felt that maybe the background was a little bit too bright. We then moved along the mezzanine floor and I found this really beautiful front lit position as well with this old antique dining set, and I took a couple of photos here. So one of the things I've been trying to do recently is being a little bit more picky with curating my images. So I think I ended up taking almost 1,500 images from this shoot, which is a lot. But when I go through and color my photos in Narrative Select, it's pretty often that I end up with like over 100 photos. So this time I really tried my best to limit the amount of photos that I ended up choosing and delivering to the agency, which ended up only being around 40 photos, I think, overall. And I'm trying my hardest to get that number down even further. Maybe in future shoots, only delivering 10 to 20 images. I think that's a really good goal for me. I just find it really difficult to pick the best images. I just have to have a higher level of scrutiny towards my work, I think. And I always think in my head that I want to give people options. However, I think I have to be more selective about what I actually want to show in my work and just really focus in on trying to show the best images possible. So that's pretty much it for this shoot. If you guys have any other questions, leave them down below and I'll try to answer as many as I can. I want to say a massive shout out to all the collaborators on this shoot. I'll leave all their links down in the description below, and to my friend Jacob for filming all the behind the scenes footage that you guys saw in this video. Stay tuned for more content from this trip as well. I shot a bunch of different images all over Korea on my Fuji camera, so if you're interested in seeing that, that'll be a video coming up on the channel really soon. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.